Hi guys, I'm Andre, and in this video I'm gonna show you how you can create a professional looking thumbnail using Photoshop. So let's go. I would like to start off by saying that this might not be the best method of achieving such a design, but it's definitely one of the most efficient. I've used it for countless business card designs and even more. So first of all, let's create a new project. So go to File, New, and let's name it thumbnail design. Okay, and its size we can go directly with 1920 by 1080, so full HD. It's plenty for a thumbnail design, no problems, and you can even use it in your actual video if you like. It's a decent enough size. You can leave everything as it is. Yeah, so we have our first artboard. If you want to work with multiple artboards, for example, you can just click here and you can add one on top, on the bottom, left or right, it doesn't matter. If, for example, you want to make side by side two thumbnails, like one for Photoshop or one for Premiere, it will definitely work like that. So we need to have a consistency, first of all, in a project. So let's think about what we need to get here. What are the elements that we need? So first of all, we need the logo. So you can get this from the internet because it's a well-known program. Of course, we're using the Photoshop logo. It also has text, it has a background, and also the design elements. So we'll have 4 folders to work with. So you can make a new folder by clicking this. So let's make 4 folders. I'm gonna hit Control so I can select them all and drag it into the artboard so they are contained. This layer doesn't help me at all, so I'm gonna just delete it. And of course we are going to name them. So the bottom one would be BG, which stands for background, of course. The second one will be the design element. The next one will be the text. The fourth one will be the logo. So now what I'm going to do is to place some guides, because it will really help us place everything together and see how the composition of this project goes. So you're gonna go to View, and you're gonna select New Guide or New Guide Layout. I'll use the layout one, and I've already selected. I've worked with this setup for many times, but you can go with like 3 or any setup that you want. But this works fine for me right now. You can use whatever you want. And so now that we have the guides placed, I can just import the logos, because for this specific project we're gonna use their specific color palettes. So it's very important to start with the logos. So we're gonna go to the File Explorer and just drag them over, just import them in whatever way, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna select Control again and drag them into the logo folder. And I'm gonna take the logo folder and I'm gonna rescale them together. So it will rescale both of them at the same time, because if I want to change it after from Photoshop to Premiere, they will already be scaled together properly. So just for tests, you're gonna adjust it later. We'll see how it goes, but for now this seems about right. Next we're gonna add some text, so you can hit T and drag a box, and of course name it like thumbnail design or whatever the video will be called. For this instance I'm gonna use 2 text boxes so I can have them separately. So I'll just say Photoshop in this one, and I can even leave the color as it is. because if I want, I can go to the styles, the layer styles, and just go to a color overlay and select the color from the logo so they match perfectly. And now I'm gonna adjust them both. Like somewhere that it looks, where it looks good and a good size. Of course, you can tinker with them a little more to make them look perfect, but for now it's good enough. Now let's go to our background folder, and we're gonna use this, which is the new layer, create new layer. And what I'm gonna do now is select Control Backspace, which will fill the layer, which whatever color is selected. And of course you can do double tap it again like with the text and go to a color overlay and just select this color from the logo. Now we have our background color that of course it matches perfectly, and now we have a very good consistency. Alright, so I'm gonna go on the text and rescale it a bit further. Okay, so now for the more difficult part of the video, but it isn't really hard, it's just a technique that not a lot of people know about. We're gonna create a new layer, and I'm gonna fill this layer, and then I'm gonna go again to layer styles, to color overlay, and I'm gonna select the color from here, and using Control T, of course, you know, you can reshape it as you want. So without using any keys, it will keep the aspect ratio. And if you use Shift, you can modify the aspect ratio however you want. So it's not 16:9 anymore. But the thing that I wanted to show you is something else. So what you may not know about the transform tool is that it also has a wrap mode. So Control T again to select it, and if you go here, you can see that it says switch between free transform and warp modes. And let me show you something. So I'll just scale it a little like this, and if you click here, you can see that you can totally modify it however you want. Not necessarily like this for the purpose of this video, but you see my point. So let's try to make it like I did in the example. All right, and you'll see that it kind of looks weird, but when you're gonna place it here, it will start making sense, as you can see. And of course you can modify it further, you can work with it however you like to make it look as good as possible, and whatever shape you like. Okay, so now that we have this layer, I'm gonna rename it to right. So now that I have this right layer, I'm gonna hit Alt to copy it, and I'm gonna drag it below to create a copy of it below this one, and I'm gonna call it center. Okay, and now I'm gonna hold Control T and I'm gonna drag it a little further. Something like this. And you can't see anything because they are stacked together with the same color. So for this one, I'm gonna change the color overlay from this color to this background color. So now it looks like it is invisible, but it's not. And you're gonna see why in the next part. We're gonna select this right, and we're gonna make a copy of it below the center, and it will be a right copy that will have the same color as the right, so not as the center. And I'm gonna select Ctrl T and drag it further like this, and you can see it appears and it will leave this gap of the center, which is not actually a gap, it's actually painted on, but it doesn't matter in this context. So you start having something like this. What you can also do is take the whole design elements folder and hit Ctrl T, and you can drag it or resize it and do whatever you might want to it to get to what you want. And you can adjust them separately, for example, like this. You can drag it further or backwards, wherever you want. And it's a thing of you have to play with it a little to get the exact shapes that you want, but this is like a very basic idea of doing it. And you can see we have gotten pretty close to this one. Like this one has them a little bit more mastered, but with a few more minutes you can get this to a very, very nice design. You can also rescale a little the text to be a little bit more in proportion, and select V. And now, as you can see, it starts to look pretty complete. You can zoom out a little if you want to tinker with it a little better, because now if I hit Ctrl T on the design elements, now I can see the whole the elements in their full, and I can like adjust them better. And for the most part it starts looking pretty good. So now it starts to look pretty good. Maybe if we adjust the logo a little further, so like make it a little smaller like this, like a little bit more in proportion, and it kind of starts looking where we want it to look. You can of course tinker with it more and design those shapes however you want, but those are the basics of how you can achieve this very, very fast and easy. And you've also seen how to work with a project pretty efficiently and organized, so everything should be labeled and in the right folder, so you can modify whatever you want very fast. So for example, if you want to do the Premiere one, so you just uncheck the Photoshop one, and now wherever I've added color, you just go add the colors from here, and you have your Premiere design, and you can have your Illustrator design or anything you want. It doesn't have to be Adobe programs, but you get my point. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and check out our social media and our site droplight.ro. See you guys in the next video. Bye.